game phase.
Hello and welcome to another arcade stream where I'm going to be looking at more lesser played arcade games. In this case, games that I haven't played much of. Well, I've seen them in MAME, I've seen maybe the odd screenshot, I've passed through them in the game list a number of times while looking at other things, but never spent that much time with them. Maybe I played them once or twice, but maybe I've written them off, maybe I've thought I'll come back to this one later and never done so. But I thought I'd pick out a few of those for these streams, and so far I think everybody's been enjoying these streams, so I thought why not do another one. So let's have a look at the chat and who is here. We have got the Ogre, who apparently can be here for this one, so it's good to know. Always welcome here at the Ogre, always good to have you, and as always thanks for the timestamps on all the videos. We have Hammy, 100% Ham, who is talking a bit about Sega and Nintendo arcade bootlegs based on the Mega Drive and SNES, where apparently he's just dumped a Final Fight 3 SNES bootleg for the arcades. We've got Aussie Guy. Aussie Guy always provides many interesting facts and videos, often that show that MAME has some emulation glitches maybe we need to work on, which is actually really useful because finding them yourself on YouTube is sometimes quite difficult because very often you have to search for the Japanese names and they're much harder to find, and I think some aren't even on YouTube, so you have to find videos elsewhere, so that type of thing is always really useful. We've got Thomas, again, Thomas another regular. We've got Cow, who's going yo, when I think that should be moo. And we've got Carlo. Carlo's suggesting a few games, Fire Barrel, Air Duel and Pound for Pound. I've played a fair bit of Fire Barrel and Air Duel, and Pound for Pound is not too easy to play on a keyboard, so I'm not sure about that one. Maybe we'll have a look at Air Duel or Fire Barrel. We'll see. We've got Feminius asking if they can play Saturn games in MAME. Saturn games have been playable for about 5 or 6 years in MAME. Not all of them work, but a lot of them do. We've got Smedis, who recognises this game but just forgot what it's called. It is Ginga NinkyouDen, which I'm sure is incorrect pronunciation, but there you go. We've got Mr. Outer Heaven, we've got Neutrino Fire, we've got Bombermat. I think Bombermat's a new face around here, so welcome Bombermat. Everybody make Bombermat feel welcome. We've got Mo Burma, we've got No Johto, I've got Kevin, and Kevin, I've seen you before. If you've not dropped by, I hope you enjoy these streams, but welcome. And hello to everybody, and yes, make sure everybody feels welcome. Bal Cube, yes, Bal Cube was on my list of potential ones to stream No Johto, so we might get to Bal Cube. We'll see. Anyway, that's the introductions done. So let's turn the volume back up a little bit and change the view and give this one a try. So I'm really not sure what to expect from this one. It feels very Japanese, and it's a Jaleco game. So what's the hardware? It runs on a 68K, which may be why the bottom high score is 68,000. So if you don't like Final Lap, you won't like these streams. When did I last play Final Lap, Cow? So can I go down here? I think I can, yes. So already I appear to be fighting everything. I've lost my weapon, which is not good. Alright. Looks like a Goemon game. I don't know what it's based on. I know without a weapon it's really hard. We've got a knife thing now. Oh. You've played this Jaleco game a few times, it's tough and it doesn't feel like half your hits connect. Yeah, I'm noticing that already. Hey though, Fire Kills, any MAME news? I don't think there's much at the moment, not arcade related anyway. I did post a link on my Twitter to some work on a Casio keyboard that's pretty interesting. Oh, you don't get fall damage, you get head banging on ceiling damage, or at least a stun. It doesn't want you to move forward, does it? I see what you mean by tough. There's enemies everywhere and you need Bob in here to translate. Yes, let's continue and give this another try because I didn't get very far. you have no choice but to fall in there, I don't know. Maybe this is just on hard? It feels hard. Ow, ow. I got after the hole at least. Light. Can't go up there. There's a lot of different enemy types already. I'm guessing the game is using them all straight away. I got my knife and then instantly died again. Yeah, it is a bit Kung Fu Master-like. But with looser controls and very loose hit detection. Although it just simply to have a checkpoint, at least. I'm not right back at the start this time. Also, you stop after you land, which means jumping can be a problem. Oh, apparently we have a big pig. Okay. Haunted Castle at Jaleco. It does appear to have that level of difficulty. Is that screen rendered properly with all the stars there? I don't know. At least they leave the grandparents alone. But you can't climb up there. You can't jump up there. I guess that's not an area you can access. I don't know how you're meant to get these power-ups that spawn when you kill the enemies. You don't have chance. And so... Okay, I can attack pig. Oh, I can go this way. So yeah, I've never actually played this one before. I've seen... Okay. Laser from nowhere. Yeah, the high score plugin can cause issues. I mean, most games aren't designed to have values injected into memory. That is why the high score stuff was removed from MAME for so long, because we kind of got fed up with people reporting bugs that were being caused by it when it's a hack in the first place to support high scores in games that don't support high scores. Hey, Mike and Janie. Thank you. Am I a legend now? Oh dear. This is Blackpool all over again. I just consider myself to be somebody who enjoys emulation and developing emulation and playing games badly. But welcome, you are more of a Twitch legend than I am, Mike and Janie. Both of you, that is. Okay, I don't like Mr. Magician person with magic laser. Yeah, it can cause problems, single gamer dad. I mean, it'll trigger some games' anti-cheat protection. Other times it'll interfere with memory tests and the like. Can I just go past it? No. No, I can't. Yeah, and sometimes if you crash a game and then quit out while it's doing the memory test, you'll end up with corrupt high scores and things like that, which it causes all sorts of problems. It's really just copying values from memory and injecting them after boot. What? How are you meant to know when he's going to attack you? This just feels random. There was something to the left. You're hoping somebody would convert this to the Spectrum? Or are we talking something else? Can I go to the left? Just this thing that says light up here. And I don't know what that is. Doesn't seem anything important to the left. Alright, Mike and Janie, I will do. I'm on your Discord, aren't I? Sometimes I forget which Discords I'm on. I know I'm on Novabugs and Zyphos. Did I join yours? If I didn't, I'll have to join it in a bit. Yeah, I don't know how to beat this boss. This boss just seems to have random attacks. I mean, there's disadvantages of every way of saving high scores, really. I mean, save states tend to be a bit fragile. The other, you know... So it's just 2 buttons. There's no special attack. What? Nope, nope. I think I might give up on this game. I don't know how to get past this boss. If it's a boss, it's just an enemy. A duck? Do you think I can duck under the attack? That wouldn't make much sense. I'll give it one last try then. I'll see if I can duck under the attack. Unless that light thing is something, but I don't think I can reach it. It doesn't... I don't know why it says light up there. Maybe I'm missing something fundamental. I have to get down. I have to duck, do I? Well, ducking doesn't work. Yeah, I think I'll move on. I might have to look up how to play that one, because that didn't make much sense. Ducking didn't seem to work at all. I was ducking and it still got me. Yeah, that seems an annoying game. Hit duck. I don't know. I'll have to come back to that one another time, because I'm just getting quite frustrated with that one, Eugene. Maybe I'm missing something, and it'll all make sense when I come back to it another time. Anyway. Ooh, let's have a look at the list. Let's have a look at my list of games to potentially play for this stream. I'm going to go with... yeah, I'm going to go with one that's probably actually quite popular, but I never spent much time with. So this is a Data East game on Neo Geo hardware. This is Spin Master. And, you know, I consider myself to be quite a big Data East fan. But for some reason, Spin Master is a game that I always overlook. I'm not sure why. So it's a Data East. That's a bit loud. It's a Data East platform action game. Not, you wouldn't really call it a run and gun, but it shares similar mechanics. Anyway, let's change the keys. I really should just change my default keys in MAME, but this already looks amazing. Yeah, I think it's probably a good fun game, because it's Data East, it's Neo Geo, it's going to have lots going on, lots of explosions. I have played it before, but never extensively. So it's sort of cutesy, run and gun, a bit like Charlie Ninja, I guess, but with faster pacing. Very cartoony. Yeah, it does remind me a lot of Charlie Ninja. That was a Mitchell game on Data East hardware. Whereas this is a Data East game as far as I know. It's possible to finish without continues. So are you saying, I mean, a lot of games are possible to finish without continues. Are you saying this one is relatively easy? If this one's relatively easy, I died already anyway. If it's relatively easy, I've got my yo-yo back, then it makes a change from the game we just played, which was definitely not easy. Now it really is Charlie Ninja. I've got ninja stars. Oh, that's a big one. So, as happens, I'm standing on top of a plane. Can I get off, please? Generally, standing on top of planes that are taking off is bad for your health. That's a special attack. Don't use a special attack. It's a waste of a special attack. Now it's turned into Punch Out. Or maybe Legend of Success Joe. Because that's the only real boxing game on the Neo Geo. The villain that looks like the guy from Tumble Pop. It's probably meant to. Yeah, you mean this doctor guy there? Who's saying get out or something. Doctor, mad scientist. I don't know. Or Dr. Wily, yes. Just the mad doctor. I wonder what the first instance of such a character was. Neo Geo was good at pushing lots of sprites around. That's about all it could really do. But yeah, the high ROM capacity meant you could have a lot of resources. The high sprite fill rate meant you could push a lot of sprites around. 68K was a little weak for it, but most games made do, didn't they? Would have been nice to have seen it with a faster processor. And maybe some blending capabilities, but that wouldn't have really fitted the overall design of the hardware. I think Seta's sprite systems tended to be more capable, but the ROM capacity wasn't there. They could have floating, proper floating tile maps and blending effects and things. But Neo Geo is a good good compromise system, really. It compromises a lot of things and manages to push a lot more sprites as a result. And like everything, obviously it was chosen. The design was chosen for a reason. And when you consider ADK were involved in the design, Alpha Denshi, and most of Alpha Denshi's games weren't visually that impressive outside of special effects, it's kind of impressive to note that the Neo Geo doesn't really do the special effects. Because if you look at things like Splendor Blast with the ground layer, it's all fancy, and quite a few of the Alpha games use fancy techniques early on. And then the Neo Geo just has sprites, lots and lots of sprites. Hey Steven, welcome, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for dropping by once more. We'll see if we find you any more little hidden gems to play, I guess. You said you tried a bit of Bones Adventure, didn't you? Which I was checking, I think I featured that one on 3 or 4 streams. And so I was quite surprised you hadn't seen that one. But this does happen. Now, I always like a good minecart stage, actually. I even like a bad minecart stage, to be honest. They're just classic action scene, isn't it? Indiana Jones. I liked it in the Dizzy game, Spellbound Dizzy as well, the little minecart scene, and even the Fantastic Dizzy, the minecart part. I don't know. And Tasmania on the Mega Drive, even though that minecart part was just memorization. Very unfair memorisation. Not as much as the lift part in the mine, but still, you have to memorise it. We're going very Metal Slug now in this tomb with these mummies, aren't we? Oops. I'm also setting myself on fire. There was one in Tomb Raider 2 that was unbearable. CPS 2 was built for fighting games, and I wouldn't necessarily say that, it's just that's what ended up being on it. I mean, it could have done a lot more. CPS 2 couldn't have really done driving games, which is why Capcom ended up doing Slipstream on System 32. But it was a good sprite pusher with some background layers that Neo Geo doesn't have, and a better resolution than Neo Geo. But I think the fill capacity on the sprites was a bit lower. So, no, we did have the background layers instead, though. Different set of compromisers. I don't know if you'd say the CPS 2 sound was better or worse. I mean, Hue Sound at the end of the day is a fancy sample player, whereas Neo Geo's got proper FM synth chips. But they're both quite different platforms. A lot of modern games are just PC based, yeah, Mikey and Janie. It's just cheaper that way. I think after a certain point everybody just stopped developing their own hardware and just used PCs with, protection dongles and custom JVS adapters and the like. So, and back in the day arcades were unique and ahead of the consoles, but these days the consoles themselves cost so much in development. You're not going to have an arcade that is using unique hardware better than what you're getting in a console, so it just makes more sense to just use whatever the cheapest, latest PC hardware is that you can afford for your game. Hey Mitchell, welcome. You doing well? Watch out for the antlion. Last stage was a desert stage. I've just Oh, got another piece of the map. So yeah. I don't know, there's something about the game that's maybe not quite as satisfying as it should be. Everything feels very light and flimsy, for lack of a better word, lacking substance. But it's pretty, and I can see kind of maybe why I always end up passing on it. It might be because oddly enough, it might be because it runs too well. With Metal Slug, it runs at 30 frames a second, updating every other frame, but that's usually a bad thing. However, in the case of Metal Slug, it just makes everything seem weightier. I don't know. I mean, obviously when Metal Slug slows down a ton, that's no good at all. But otherwise, maybe the slower frame rate, a bit like you get with movies, where if you see a movie in 60 frames a second, it looks wrong. Maybe this style of gameplay at 60 frames a second feels a bit odd. But then I quite like Charlie Ninja, and that's 60 frames a second, so I don't know. Yeah, at the time the arcades were well ahead of the home systems. I mean, we got ports on things like Spectrum and CPC that were absolutely nothing like the arcades, and even the 16-bit ports to the Amiga were very rarely like the arcades. These days, well, the problem is the budgets. I mean, games cost a fortune, and if you make a really expensive game for the arcades on really expensive unique hardware, it's never going to earn its money back. You know, you've got to be able to do a home port, or it's got to be a cheap linear project with probably assets you've recycled from another 20 games you've done before. Otherwise, you're not even going to break even. Which is probably why a lot of them now are mobile ports too. You know, they've made their money on mobile, and then people have got, I remember that game on the phone, and then put some coins in it and win some tickets, and that's it. So, I think we'll move on from Spin Master. You can see what it is. It's alright. It's, say, a very cartoony Indiana Jones type adventure around the world with a yo-yo as a projectile. Yeah, you still get the unique controls in arcades and things, and sometimes flashy lights and in-your-face wind blowers and things to add to the experience. But that's what a lot of them are now. They're only the experience. The actual technical improvement over the home systems is gone. Right, I'm going to stick with more modern-looking games and go to one that I spent a fair bit of time improving the emulation of, but not as much time playing, and that is Nostradamus from Face. Yeah, they cost. Some of the games did cost a lot, but they would often make that money back. These days, not a chance. Yeah, I think Metal Slug running at 30 frames a second is as much by design as anything, Mr. After Heaven. I know somebody was doing a Mega Drive port of Metal Slug, and they have it running at 60 frames a second, and it just looks so odd to see those sprites moving around at 60 frames a second. It almost feels wrong. But I don't want to say to them, you've got to make the game slower, it's too fast, because that would be a bit rude. So here is a shoot 'em up from Face. Face didn't do many shoot 'em ups. In fact, Face not known for that much at all. But this one, I really like the visuals. It's got a bit too much slowdown, some very nice effects, but beyond, you know, credit feeding it and putting the cheats on, I've hardly tried to play it. So let's have a little play of it. Now I am starting with some better looking ones. We will be going to the dad games at some point in this stream, as we did last time. But, you know, I thought I'd have some look at some of these fancier ones to start with. So, yeah, single button shooter, I think. You don't have a bomb button. You hold the button for the special attack by the looks of it. And then you try and wipe out multiple enemies with it. And collect powers. Okay, I mean, let's just play it. Now, one thing I do know about this is there's a hidden item at the start where if you just shoot, you pick it up. It is meant to be invisible. It's just a secret. So you hold down the button and you go like that. Some nice fancy water effect here. Yeah, Naomi was really arcade equivalent, and I don't think it really helped the Dreamcast because you just end up with so many straight arcade ports that didn't have the long-term appeal. But I don't know. There were other arcade home-based platforms. I mean, things like the Alex 64 was N64 based. And obviously got all the PlayStation hardwares. But yeah, the Dreamcast, the games in the arcade and home were more or less the same. And people wanted more from home games. I've said this before. Well, you know, the arcade experience is fine in the arcades. If you're playing a racing game with one course, you're going to go, I'll just play Gran Turismo on PlayStation instead, with far more courses and far more cars and everything. Creative boss design with different parts firing different lasers here. Game Arm Champs 2. I've never tried to play it. I think it'd be very difficult to play because it was a real-life arm wrestling machine. And I don't really know how you simulate that with standard controls, to be honest. I think it's going to be a tricky one, whatever the case. So you've got your different weapon types. The red one does this fire wave, and the blue one does the wave that extends outwards, but both cover a decent screen area if you charge them up. And I think you can use them to block shots, although don't do that. That was stupid. Nostradamus sounds like it was done at Minato Gaiken for face. Minato Gaiken is formed by Kenichi Iwanaga, former of Sega and Arc System Works. Is he known for any other games at Sega or Arc System Works? I'm just trying to think what this maybe feels similar to. It is one of those odd games that feels really out of place for the company. I mean, it's a bit like Kaneko and Kaiven. It just feels like such an odd game for the company. And thank you, Amasith, for the subscription there. If you're in the chat, feel free to say hello. If I've missed you already, I apologise. You hate 60 frames a second movies on Netflix. I mean, I watched one of the Lord of the Rings ones in the cinema at 60 frames a second, and I actually quite enjoyed it. And then was disappointed that I don't think you could buy the home version at that, but I did get what people meant. It felt like we were watching a sort of live production, a sort of theatre rather than a movie. I think it's just because we've trained our brains to expect movies to be presented in a certain way. Often with games, though, you do really notice 60 frames a second to 30 in terms of playability, if it's meant to be one which requires fast reactions. Shoot-em-ups that run at 30 frames a second are absolutely dire. So the fact, you need something like this to run at 60 for it to be playable. Slowdowns are slowdowns, though. And thank you, Feminius, for the subscription. But yeah, I did play this one a bit when I fixed a bug in one of the bosses, which has a fancy peering effect. But so I've never spent much time with it, and you can see it's quite interesting. Look at the bullet patterns that go around here, with the bullets bouncing around this circle. It's quite creative. I don't really know what it has to do with Nostradamus, apart from his face being in the intro, but I guess they just wanted something that was going to appeal to people. I like the fact the bomb covers the whole vertical slice of the screen, so you can use it above or below and it still gets the enemy. It's like having a backwards shot. Oh, I got caught. I'm not aware of any progress on the PS2 systems. No single dad gamer. The last person to look at any kind of PlayStation 2 in MAME was Ryan Holtz, Wiggly Guy, and that was just with the console. I think Windy Fairy was looking at some of the PS2 based dancing games in the dedicated PlayStation 2 emulator, so there's a chance maybe outside of MAME you start to see PlayStation 2 arcade games emulated, but in MAME maybe not. Yeah, I wonder if... I can't remember which boss it was that I fixed. I don't think it was the sandbox. I think it was the one in front of a planet. Nostradamus' most famous prediction, the bullet hell space war of 2 million AD. Yeah, I remember reading that part. I guess we're in Korea. Now, if you time the use of the weapon, you can take out many of the waves in a very satisfying way. If you're just spamming the attack like I am, not so much. See there, that worked. I took them out at the right time, because many of them do form that kind of V pattern. So we're not going to spend too long on any one game, but I'll give this one a bit longer. Because it's one I want to spend more time with. I think it's possibly one of the better looking shoot 'em ups, I mean visually, and it's got this unique mechanic, and I want to play more of it. I've never really got round to trying to understand it properly. Also, single button. There's something to be said for a single button shooter where you're not just going to rely on bomb. I mean, this charge shot is a bit like a bomb, but the mechanic is also very different. You do have to charge it, but it doesn't take too long to charge either. Do it one more time. Kenichi Iwanga, or however you pronounce it, also worked on Pizza Pop, and Game Gear Sonic Labyrinth, and a PC TG16 game, Obo Charmer Kun, which I've never heard of. I know nothing about. And of course, I'm dying multiple times by reading the chat, but that's fine. We're not trying to show good gameplay here, we're just trying to show games you might enjoy, and games I've not played much of. Because it's very different when you're trying to play a game and when you're just putting the cheats on that you can find and speeding through it to try and get to a specific moment to fix a bug. And I think most of the time spent with this game has been the latter, because the bugs were on the final boss and one of the later normal bosses, and so I had to, you know, the early game didn't matter to me. I just had to speed through the game, use the level select cheats, make sure there's nothing that looks bad, but don't try and play it. I mean, the worst 60 frames a second stuff is the stuff that is automatically upscaled to 60, interpolated to 60. That just looks terrible. And a lot of TVs were doing that at one point. It's like, why? Please just turn it off. This is the stage that's got a nice boss appear effect. So we'll get to the boss on this stage. Just to show, I mean, it's been about 6-7 years since I fixed the bug, but I think it's this stage. It looks familiar. Hey Franco, welcome. Hope you're doing well, and you've come here to see me play games badly, clearly, because that's what I do best, is play games badly, and maybe fix some bugs when I find them. But this one did have a bug fix many years ago. But, we'll see if it's the stage I'm thinking it is. I'm not really a fan of it for many years now. It's not a good way to use MAME, and it's not really a good way to use any of the other emulators either. This isn't the one that appears in a fancy way above the planet. Okay, I'm wrong. This is just a regular appearing boss. Console emulators, yeah, if you tend to have to check a lot of things if you fix a bug. You never know what you might have broken. Yeah, motion interpolation is the equivalent of 2 times SAI filters. They do have a similar let's just destroy everything about the image in a bad way effect. And so unnatural. I'm doing really badly at this. Shall I continue playing or shall I just move on? Hey, big green got me. What joystick am I using? I'm currently using a keyboard. If I use a joystick or pad in any way, I'm using an Xbox One pad. But since I do development on keyboard, I just play on keyboard for the most part. I'm not a good enough gamer in the first place to warrant expensive sticks or setups. I'm more about, you know, developing the emulators, showing things off, and getting some casual enjoyment out of the games. You want to continue? Alright, I'll continue a little bit then. Don't want to spend too long on it though, because we never get through all the games I want to get through in the first place. Legends of Legiana on the PS1 has a bug 30 hours in. Ouch. See, this is the point where I really struggle with the game, because you have to pay attention. Otherwise you just crash into everything. Now you might think that, you know, not having multiple levels of power-ups and enough weapon types makes this one a bit dull. I've not really found that with it. I think it's pretty good as it is. What game am I most proud of emulating? There's a lot of them. Maybe Sega's Cool Riders. That was a fun one to work on, just for how unique it was. The whole compressed sprite system and everything else is definitely one I was very satisfied to finally see running, although there's still a lot of mysteries with that hardware that still need to be figured out. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Things like the Psycho SH2 hardware that run Power Strikes 9545-2 as well. I always enjoyed that one, although, you know, I didn't do all the emulation on that one myself. But, Nostradamus' predictions are quite strange if this is what he predicted. Oh yeah, you can't just go through a laser. I should really know that. Yeah, I thought you'd be able to hear the tippy-tappy keyboard. Bob offered comments on it. In fact, where is Bob today? Bob is late. Maybe busy. Oh, I've missed Bob. I don't know. Maybe Bob is fixing more NES games. Mappers and the like. It's only a cheap keyboard too. It costs like £5 from Argos. Who needs a gamer keyboard? To be honest, I've tried gamer keyboards and hated them more than this cheap £5 keyboard, so... the game I want to fix most but haven't yet. There are a lot of them. Oh, Bob is here. Bob here. Nostradamus is here. Nostradamus. There's a lot of them. I've not personally worked on it myself, but I said I'd love to get System 10 working. At this present moment, things like Thunderhoop are annoying me because of that crash on stage 4. I'm trying to think. There are quite a few. A lot of times people have picked them up afterwards. I'm annoyed that Mega Drive emulation doesn't work for certain games like the Killing Game Show, but I don't really want to go and revisit the Mega Drive emulation. I'm trying to think, are there any in drivers where the driver otherwise work and that game doesn't? Honestly, I've worked on the emulation of so many things, I don't remember half of them. Sometimes I go back and go, oh yeah, I really want to get that working. Sometimes I forget. This is the level with fancy boss opponents. So we'll play this level and then probably end it. So there we go. It appears like that. And that's a sprite masking effect. It's drawing a masking sprite around it that's got a low priority in the background. Looks so simple, only does it for a brief second, but that was the effect I fixed many years ago in this one. Anyway, I think I've played enough of Nostradamus. I don't wish to tempt the ending of the world upon us all, if that's the thing that can happen if you play Nostradamus, I don't know. But yeah, I do need to play more of it and actually try and play the game, not just fix bugs in it. I'd like to get Decathlete running at full speed, but that requires optimising the STV driver. There are many things that I'd like to improve. I can't name one specific thing right now. Many of them are difficult. Actually, no, I can tell you maybe the one game that has annoyed me most, and we played the sequel to it in the last stream actually, and that is Grand Striker. I can't for the life of me work out how that rotation layer works on the ground. It should be so simple, but it makes no sense to me. I've emulated other rotation layers, but not that one. Let's have a look at... oh, we need to swap the screen around. An old game. Steelworker. And this is another that I've not really spent enough time with. Maybe, I think it doesn't have sound emulation from memory. It says it's got some sound, I don't know. There's some reason I didn't play this much and want to. You want to get Safari Rally improved. But yeah, the Grand Striker ground plane, which is shared with Vigo Soccer, and I think it's one of the Tecmo World Cup games. It doesn't make any sense, and it's really annoying me. So let's have a look at Steelworker. Oh, we've got a bit of a... Oh, it's just got Space Invader sound effects for them at the moment. Maybe that's correct, maybe that's not correct. I don't know. So you have to select the piece you want to place down to try and get your Steelworker across the screen. And you have to get onto the platforms. You can't just walk through a solid steel bar, which kind of makes sense. So I want to go that way, I think. I don't want to do that. So you are literally building a little path for your guy. And then we've got to avoid the... that, then we've got to go down. And you see, I've selected the path and we've got them across the screen. Yeah, a quasi-predecessor to DMA's Lemmings. It does have that feel. I mean, obviously you only got one guy going around. This level starts quickly. And you also have a reverse button, so I could have hit that, but you know, where's the fun in that? But it is a save 'em up type game. Rather simple, if we're honest, but not necessarily a bad game. This is one of the early games that was considered very rare until it was emulated. It's a very lumbering walk cycle. It reminds me of Hunchback, although then we've got very basic character art in the first place, which is almost berserk-like. Obviously, we're not getting any human ones here. It looks like a specky game with a colour clash. Yeah, I mean, it's Space Invaders type hardware. I think it's a colour overlay, although I'm not sure. Oh. It feels a little prototypey. I think it was a released game. Doesn't look good enough to be in the arcades. I mean, it was 1980, and it was experimenting with a new idea. But, yeah, it's not a very arcade-like game in terms of the gameplay. You are correct. That wasn't very clever. But yeah, I've never spent an extensive amount of time with it because maybe it is a bit too limited. Budget home PC game, a budget home PC game in 1980. I mean, it's ahead of what you could do at home in 1980, I'm pretty sure. Although only just. But it's an early example of the genre, and it's not a genre that really works as an arcade game anyway. If you played the prototype version of Lemmings that Day Twisted for the arcades, you can see how badly that translates to an arcade game. March 1980. Yeah, I think for the time it was an interesting concept. I mean, if you look at how unplayable a lot of 70s games were, it's a step ahead of that. But it doesn't really do enough. It's just a case of reacting quickly. I don't know if the gameplay evolves at all. So you have a reverse button which sends him backwards if you want to. But he's going to get crushed by that. There we go. There we go. Game over. You like it, Dink? If it did more, I'd probably like it more, but I don't think you even ever get multiple columns. I think it's always just this one in the middle, and you just build up to it, and you build around it, and you avoid the things that are being hoisted up and down. And that's it. I really don't think the game does anything more. But it's an interesting concept. Yeah, maybe the wrong time and the wrong platform are 09, R09. But if you've not seen it, it's probably worth a play. But again, I've played it now, and I feel like after playing it for 5 minutes, I've seen all it has to offer, which I think is what I've done every time I've played it, which is why I've not played it much. So I think maybe this game's going to do something, and it never does. It's just one of those games, isn't it? But if you've not played it, maybe give it a try. Let's have a look at something that's probably bad. And I don't know if it runs well, but our absolute favourite arcade system ever, if I can remember the name, the Arcadia, based on the Amiga 500, and Xenon. Now, we all know how the Arcadia Amiga-based platform got all the best Amiga games, don't we? And I think that, as much as anything, is what puts me off playing any of these games, because I know they're not even good Amiga games. So, you know, I played a bit of Xenon, and I didn't enjoy it on the Amiga that much. So I don't know if it runs too fast as well. That might be a problem with some of these. It feels too fast, like there's no timing on the blitter or something. I don't know. Let's give it a try. They'd look so much better if they didn't have this horrible multi-game screen too, but you know, this was a platform where you could put multiple cartridges in. MAME doesn't emulate that feature. So is this meant to be a bit slower? It probably is, isn't it? Yeah, I think even with KO's recent Amiga improvements, some of these might run a bit too fast. Because I think this ran quite slow on the Amiga from memory, but... Give it our best shot. Yeah, you can transform into the craft as well if you want to fly. Then you can't shoot things on the ground. But you can transform into the ground thing and shoot the ladybirds or whatever they are. I don't know. It is an odd choice for a set name, isn't it? Considering the whole title would have fit. Maybe it's just so that nobody plays it. Maybe they're just, you know, taking the N off so that there's less chance of somebody remembering what the short name is and playing it. And then being highly disappointed. I don't know, I'm saying all these bad things about it. Literally, I've never tried to sit down and play it. I just know I never really liked the Amiga game in the first place, and the Arcadia games tend not to be good. And the Mega Drive Xenon 2 is also a disaster. Maybe Xenon 2 is just the better game. But, see, you can't even go beyond halfway up the screen here. That's really annoying. And it's not perfectly smooth. And the music's horrible, even though, again, I've heard people say it's got great music. This is not great music. Good evening, Alistair. Welcome. You have joined us just in time to see some bad Amiga-based arcade game. At least I think it's probably quite bad. I mean, it's maybe not as bad as I was expecting, but it's still Euro shooter. You can't even transform into a plane on the boss. It's like, no, you can't be a plane on the boss because we say so. Oh, got checkpoints. So this wasn't meant to be the bad game stream. This is just I'm playing this game and thinking, yeah, I know why I don't play this game. You didn't know it was an arcade game? Yeah, Mastertronic put out this Arcadia system where they took a load of basically budget Amiga games and put them in an arcade cabinet, and it pretty much bankrupted them. I've got all this lovely bombing stuff, and then suddenly I have to go to ground base for the boss. But yeah, it basically took Mastertronic under as far as I know. And I'm not surprised, because the Amiga does have a lot of good games, but then you just pick these ones that really aren't. I think that alert sound is probably, yeah, I'm running out of time, so wants money off me. It's not getting any money off me. why is it writing 9876542 in text? The bitmap bros. Yeah, that should be a game instead. Maybe it would have been a better game if it was just called the Bitmap Bros. It's got speech though. Honestly, yeah, it probably is running a bit too fast. But maybe it's not making that much difference to the gameplay. See, I don't really like the music, but I can understand that a lot of people do. Anyway, yeah, I probably won't be playing that one again myself. I just heard better tunes on the Amiga. I like that it's got music and sound effects, because many Amiga games didn't do that, which was really off-putting. But it's never really been a game I've enjoyed. And I can see why I've always passed over the arcade version without trying to be too horrible about it. It should be running at 50. Should it, though? It's an arcade cabinet that was released. I don't know. Should it? I mean, the Amiga version obviously should. But did the Arcadia systems run? Because I think they were based on the NTSC Amigas. Yeah, it was one of the Bitmap Brothers devs. I think Bob may have been joking though. Anyway, let's have a look at a game that Peter and Morton fixed a while back that I can't get to grips with at all. And I'm going to change the keys a bit because I know something about the controls. This is Atari Space Lords, which was one of the games that many people asked when we were going to fix in MAME. And then once we fixed it, I don't think anybody ever plays it. I'm going to turn auto centering right up too, because apparently that helps. So, when was this from? I think this is one of the, 91, is it? 92. This is one of those games Atari released when Atari were not releasing good games. Is this a good game? I don't know. Let's call it up. Now, I think ideally you're meant to have like a co-pilot as well and play a two-player game. It also needs a trackball because trying to do this on mouse doesn't really work. So maybe I should be trying to play this on a pad with an analog stick, not a mouse, because you can't seem to move anything wherever you want it here. But anyway, also it's one of these Atari games that calibrates the thing when you move to extremes. Use the throttle loop. So you can use the throttle to go forward. You've got a rear view, and I guess you're just meant to target things on the radar, but it's like, what is this behind me? Can I shoot it? I nuked it. Okay. So I can press hyperspace, which apparently is good if somebody wants to nuke at you. Collect 3 satellites. Where are the satellites? Are they on the radar? What am I looking for? No, that's clearly an enemy. Oops, I nuked somebody. It says nuke. I've got no hypers, so I don't know what I have to do to avoid a nuke. But where are these satellites that I'm meant to be collecting? What am I doing? This is why I've always avoided Space Lords, is because I really don't have a clue what's going on most of the time when I try and play it. Feels like a prototype, but it's not a prototype. This was released, and a lot of people remember it. But honestly, it's... See, I'm being shot from behind, so I can go shoot behind. But there we go, I've blown that up. Except I'm not going to find these satellites I need, because I don't even see them on the radar. Lack of energy killed us. I've got the spaceport. I need to do more lording. I probably do. I mean, I've obviously not configured my ship very well. Maybe staying still is a bad idea. Can I hide behind a cloud? In a cloud? Maybe. I don't know. Just drive into clouds. What? Let's use my one warp and go through an asteroid. Now, as far as I know, this is properly emulated, because Peter and Morton did work out all the protection stuff. It's just a game that basically doesn't make any sense to me. It feels like you're just always going to die, because there's always something shooting at you. I mean, where's it shooting me? How do I avoid it? I've hit an asteroid. Oh dear. It feels like, from the sound effects, I'm controlling a lawnmower. So it's Space Lawnmower Simulator. I mean, lots of things going boom. That's a good sign. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, yeah, technologically it's quite impressive looking. Although this was 92. I mean, there were decent space shooters by 92. So this time it's not asking me to find any satellites. I think because I've selected melee mode, it's probably just a space dogfight mode, rather than the mission mode that made no sense to me. So yeah, that was melee mode. But I can select solo mode again, and it just says kill 15 ships. I don't know. So yeah, I've just avoided playing it because, yeah, it's always just seemed very confusing. It's always felt like maybe it's not playable unless you've got two players. Maybe you need the second player in the cockpit view, I think. Because I think the second player is always the behind view or something like that if you've got two players. But I'm not really sure. It offers a single player mode though, so... yeah. It's not asteroids. You can't blast the asteroid, unfortunately. Arcade Star Raiders. Yeah, this... I mean, Atari really did a lot of work to protect this one. It took a lot for Peter and Morton to figure out. But then this is the game you end up with afterwards. And, I don't know. No, I didn't want to do that, but I guess it got me out of the way for now. Well, that's just like when I play asteroids then, isn't it? Asteroid collision killed us. I'd say a lot of people asked when this would be emulated. So a lot of people must have fond memories of it with Luke Skywalker in the arcade and the high score table there. It's got our famous Atari logo, so this is a release game with that Atari logo in it. There you go. The anniversary logo. Patent pending. But yeah, you can't turn quickly enough either. The co-pilot mode, I think, requires... I don't know. Oh, now there's a second cursor. Look, there's a second player with a crosshair here that can shoot. So it's not a two-screen thing. It's literally there's a second crosshair. It turns into Looking Wild or something like that. So look, I've got a second cursor and a second player to shoot with. So basically you just get somebody who can aim but not fly the ship. If that's what you want. Look. So, yeah. Don't cross the beams. Now I can cross the beams. Look, I can cross the beams as much as I want. Unfortunately. Let's go backwards. Let's try some reverse parking. We'll just crash into things. I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting concept, but I don't find it especially playable. I did think it was a two-screen game, but no, the second player is just an extra crosshair that goes behind the radar. Don't cross the floor. Again, maybe I should come back to it sometime and actually try and work it out. I don't know. I don't know. And what would you know? The next game is a game I've not really played much of for a very similar reason. Actually, no, it's not so much. No, so it's not the one I was thinking of. This is one that is again dual controls, but not the space shooter. Yeah, it's not dual screen setup, Smedis. It's just dual cursor, I think. I thought it was dual screen. I'm wrong. So this is Night Stalker with a very impressive looking title screen. Is it dual cab? Maybe it's dual cab as well then. Maybe you can have dual player Space Wars. But I thought the co-pilot option was dual cab, but the co-pilot option is just here's an extra cursor on the screen. Honestly, I'm not sure. So, capture green crystals, capture red crystals, and capture blue crystals. Okay. So, I don't know. Stalker, not. So I don't know. Yeah, collect crystals, and also use the mouse to blast things. And I think it must be a real light gun because it's got a flashy screen. So, multitasking. Oh, there's a fort. Uh-oh. Run out bullets. And that's game over. You've seen Space Wars in person, there's 2 screens. It must allow you to do player versus player then on 2 screens, because clearly the co-pilot mode just puts an extra cursor on the screen, which I thought was the 2-player mode, but I don't. It's a confusing game. Maybe it's an overly ambitious game. So wait, I've broken my car and now I can't collect anything? What? Seriously, what? How do I repair it? Now I have no shots and I can't pick anything up and I can't repair. You played this in person too, Smedis. Huge chunky light phaser and a steering wheel. Yeah, the flashes are because it's a light gun game. Now, many light gun games flash because it's how the light guns worked. If they don't flash, it's not a real light gun, basically. So, if you make a mistake collecting a crystal, you destroy your crystal collector, and then you can't collect any crystals, and then you can't complete the stage. That is really unfair. Because I couldn't see any way to repair it after I'd ruined it. Also, distance to fort doesn't matter if you're driving around in a circle, the fort will just appear. So I'll shoot you, I'll shoot you, I'll shoot you. I'm not shooting you quick enough. So my craft is now damaged. But my craft is repaired after a level. It's better than not being repaired at all, but... So yeah. But now it's broken. Now I can't do anything. I'm not keen on the fact there seems to be no obvious way to repair your vehicle after you damage it, because at that point there's no point in playing anymore if there's no repair mechanism. I've checked the attract mode, but yeah, there are mines. Yeah, I'll probably not try to pick up the mines, Tommy. But at the same time, can you not repair? Yeah, mines. Yeah, I don't know if the sound's fully emulated to Smedis. It uses a whole bunch of synthesizer chips. Basically, it's a synth keyboard type sound hardware that's put in an arcade game. The sound hardware is far more powerful than the rest of the arcade machine from what I remember reading. I think Phil Bennett was looking at it at one point. So that's it. There doesn't seem to be anything about repairing, so I guess once you blow it up, then it's blown up for good. That's quite bad design, I would have to say. Putting you in a situation where you really can't do anything because you've blown up your collector and there's no way to repair the collector is poor. Well, it's not the only time the sound hardware is more powerful than the main hardware. The Q-Sound DSP on CPS2 is probably more powerful than a lot of the rest of the hardware. It's kind of silly. And of course, Spy Hunter is your classic example where the sound hardware is driven by 68K, despite it all being a Z80 game, just so it can have that Peter Gunn music. So as long as I avoid the mines completely, no, I don't like mines. Yeah, my shield's going down because I'm crashing into mines. Maybe getting shot. I'm not sure. How am I to avoid that mine? Now I've got... WEC Le Mans 24 is pretty well known cow, and I've played a fair bit of it, even though I've never been very good at it. It's interesting. The sound effects end up sounding like Stranger Things with the odd synths and everything else, but I don't really think that's how it's meant to sound. Can you shoot the mines? Maybe. I mean, I think I might have already done that and then forgot I could do that. So yeah, I could probably shot the mines, you're right. But I think we've maybe seen enough of Night Stalker for now. I might come back to this one. I think it's got some design flaws, but it's kind of interesting for 86. I don't know where I'd rank it, but you know, maybe I'll play that one again. I'll play this one, Ninjakun, because I did use the PCB picture for my background, so I should play it. It is one that I worked on the emulation of a while back, like many years ago. This is a really annoying sound, so thank you. Thank you, UPL Sound Test. I've not looked at the service options. You recommend Top Landing by Taito. I've played an original Top Landing and had no idea what to do on it, Wolfaz. I don't think I can play it in MAME without the real controls. Now, this one, I don't know, does this count for my lesser played game stream? I did play this one quite a bit when I did the emulation of it, but then I've not played that much since, although I've seen it on all these NES bootlegs from my arcade and the like. I think the fact I died within 10 seconds means I'm out of practice enough to consider it. I played Snax and Jackson before. I played Snax and Jackson quite often, Smedis. We're not doing weird games, we're doing games I've not really played much, or not played much recently. I may as well just quit this now, I've lost so many lives on the first level. Well. Now, the NES version of this is kind of terrible, and it's probably the one people are familiar with, because, I say, it ends up on all these NES bootlegs. The arcade version, on the other hand, is actually pretty good fun. You have to outwit these enemies. It's also the game that will tell you you've got 3 balls. Yeah, there's quite a few games like that in MAME where you have to really define the keys, otherwise they're not playable, Wolfaz. But you need The NES version of this was ported by Toes. Yeah, the NES version's just got a really bad frame rate, which is why I don't like it. This is nice and smooth. The NES version isn't. Interestingly, ended up being one of the versions on the Versus system, didn't they? Which is not great either. I think that was a sequel, though, not the original version. I used to be good at this. I don't think Marble Madness 2 is ever going to be jumped to emulated 111. The owner doesn't want anything to do with emulation at the moment, and has never really shown any interest in getting that one emulated. And I think there's an FPGA-based mini arcade coming out with Marble Madness 2 on, though. Marble Man. So I don't know if that's the ROM or a reproduction, although that's meant to be titled Marble Madness 2, not Marble Man. So I don't think it's going to be an unmodified ROM at least, but it might be one way to get the game. I don't know when that's coming out, though, if it's already out, but I've not read anything about it recently. Yeah, and Marble Madness 2 is a terrible game. We've talked about all these Atari prototypes not being released, and Marble Madness 2 is right up there in terms of absolutely awful Atari games that were completely misguided, and you'll play like for 2 minutes and go, oh, yeah, let's never play this again. Let's never speak of this again. I think that's one of the reasons the owner of the board probably doesn't want it emulated, to be honest. They just know that as soon as it's emulated, everybody's going to know how bad it is. Yeah, well, you know, you can't preserve something if the people with it aren't willing to help out, and they're not. So I just wonder what the story is with this FPGA-based thing, because if it does run the ROM, somebody's just going to extract the ROM, and it might not be the unmodified version, but it's still a ROM, although that's why it may not even be emulated. That might just be a reproduction for all I know. Yeah, the sequel, which has some quite odd titles like Rad Action. The sequel's pretty good though, yeah. I like the simplicity of this version though, and so it's one I used to play more and then just stopped playing. It's a good test of reactions, and it's just something that works about the play mechanics. The double jump just by holding down jump, the different enemy types. I don't know, it just feels nice to play. Not everything wants to kill you instantly. But then I got stunned rather than outright killed. But yeah, the sequel is definitely worth checking out too, and it's a bit fancier. It's one of your favourites, yeah. It's one I have fond memories of working on the emulation of, although I didn't manage to do the whole emulation myself because there's some very odd behaviour with the scrolling and CPU communications from what I remember that I couldn't figure out, but with a bit of assistance we got it running. Yeah, this is when I really didn't understand emulation at all. Bonus stage 1, because I have 3 strange balls. There you go. Get an extra life. Generous bonus life. There we go. So we're not going to spend too long on this one, but you know, when I die, when I lose my lives here, we'll move on, because I'm on scene 7, and this is far too... you're getting far too far in the game for it to be suitable for this stream. The stream is about me failing repeatedly, not actually getting to level 7 on the game. Hey, I'm Beezer. Thank you for joining. Always appreciated. Your work, I know what I'm trying to say. Your work is always appreciated, so I'm glad to see you popping in. So, we may look at the versus NES version of this afterwards, actually. I've never really spent much time with. So that one would be a genuine not spend much time with version. See, this is definitely not a difficult game. Yes, you work on the MAME and things like that, the snapshots and video things and all that kind of thing, which a lot of people find incredibly useful. Am I good at Dino Rex? It was on my list of games to potentially look at, but no, I'm not good at it. Dino Rex is Taito's attempt to do a Primal Rage game, and anyway, let's actually game over there, because I think I've played enough of this one. There's a to-do in the high score list. Yeah, Aussie guy was saying the sequel was Ninjakun, Ashura no Show, the NES version. The game sequel was ported by Micronix, Wixie Chaos for UPL. But I think that does lead on to the versus NES version. I think it's a related game, isn't it? Versus Ninja Jajamaru Kun. Is it related? I can't remember. It always felt related. I thought, well, look, no, this isn't. Is this related? I thought it was, but maybe it's just because it got a ninja and kun. It's the same character, isn't it? But you see how badly this scrolls. I don't understand the versus system. There's so many games that don't feel like they should be arcade games on it. Same series. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't run as rough as the NES version of the original game. But still... hey. I thought I already said thank you for following to you. Thank you for refollowing? Or maybe that was a Twitch one this time. But it's not a patch on the arcade original, is it? Of the original first game. I've got a minecart though. Maybe I have to get some points. But it doesn't move nicely. I can outrun my own shots. It was Twitch. Aha, thank you. I always forget that I should probably do a different alert sound for them. So thank you for Amasly. Is that right? For subscribing on both this and Twitch. I don't really use Twitch much, but it is the backup option if bad things happen to YouTube, which is always a possibility. You know, you never know what mistakes they're going to make, like hiding all the dislikes. Although, I don't know. Yeah, this one I've legitimately not spent much time with. Like I say, I played this original, I played the arcade sequel. This one, like so many, I could do a whole stream of versus NES games I've not spent much time with, because the NES just isn't good enough for the most part for arcade games. You think Dino Rex tried to be its own thing? Maybe we'll look at Dino Rex shortly then, because Dino Rex is on my list of games. I've got turbo run speed, but it doesn't help. Is there a smooth version of this? I don't think so. I think this was a NES only game that ended up on the Versus system. But it's not as good as I don't think there's an arcade original version of this one. Have I considered matching eyeliner and lipstick? I have been known to wear eyeliner and lipstick in the past, although usually my other half does that, and she is not here. Anyway, so that is... I find that a very frustrating sequel. Again, I've done the same thing I always do. I try and play it because I like the original game, and then the whole fact it's a really jerky NES-based game just puts me off and I quit out of it, and that's what happens. So we'll move on. In fact, I said I'd have a look at Dinovex, didn't I? So Dinovex I've hardly spent any time with, so that's a Taito logo with a sound effect. So we're going full claymation again. There's a gameography on GDRI, which is on SMS Power. I saw Bob from Retro RGB did an interview with one of the SMS Power people recently. I still need to check that out. I do really appreciate the work SMS Power do. It's been really important for the Master System and related systems. A and B to power attack on this one. I'll map the controls to this then. Thank you, Tommy. I'm not sure what this game is done with. It is one of those Taito games that I probably played in Rain back in the day and went, what on earth is this? And didn't play again. It's got a rainbow, speaking of rain. But yeah, it's quite ugly. Sorry, the phone's a bit loud. The graphics are not pretty. Maybe it's more comparable to one of the Godzilla games? I'm not really sure. I'll credit up and we'll see what it's like. Anyone but the T-Rex. I'll be this one. So it's telling me there's like most of the joystick circle. I can't do that easily on keyboard. Yeah, this does look like a very Mega Drive palette, doesn't it, Bob? I think it's because it's the digitised graphics. I mean, the hardware's clearly capable of more. So... okay. Don't eat me. It is wholly washed out looking, yeah. Okay. C doesn't seem to do much, I don't know. It plays like a... It feels like a pre-Street Fighter 2 fighter. I don't know if it is. When did it come out? 92. One of those where buttons don't quite do what you'd expect them to do. Can I not eat people for an energy boost? I mean, I could, but that's generally considered to be cannibalism, so I don't really want to start doing that on stream. Single Gamer Dad. YouTube might have something to say about it. See, you'd expect up to be jump, but up is... oh, down and then up is jump. Okay. This is... so you have to duck to jump. What? Just do that then. Just use my power move and go, yeah. Ow. Does that ring out? No. Oh, well, you're just letting me walk back into the ring. Okay. does remind me of the Godzilla game. In terms of, I don't know. Recharge special by roaring. Bomber Matt says the dust effect is nice. Yeah, the dust effect isn't bad. The audio is not nice. These dinosaur roars are very high pitched. You don't like the Nintendo sound chip. Arguably, it's one of the advantages it had over the Master System was the sound chip. Oh, I've wasted my power, eh? You can jump out the way of the power. Nope, you're not jumping out the way this time. Oh, I see. I go like this and recharge the power. Then I can do that again. I mean... Then spam A. I'm not going to say this plays well. To me, this doesn't play well at all, but maybe that's just my opinion. It's not logical. It also doesn't sound nice. It doesn't look pleasant. But yeah, it's not really trying to be Primal Rage, is it? Primal Rage is more of a traditional fighter with dinosaurs. This is something. Later I need skill. I mean, I like the amount of destruction that's going on. But it appears to be me being destroyed. You're a fan of the crazy floating movement. Maybe we can see how dinosaurs float in water instead. Although, I can't think of many games that allow you to float dinosaurs in water. Unfortunately, it appears we're on the same arena. Maybe it's always the same arena. I don't know if this has different levels. Again, I've really not played this much. So they do like Hippodrome from Data East, Mick. Yeah, it is. That's what it's reminding me of. So that's why I'm thinking Free Street Fighter. Hippodrome being one of them. Fighting Fantasy, isn't it? Not Final Fantasy, that's a different game entirely. Fighting Fantasy, aka Hippodrome. At least this one roars instead of just screaming and ear beat. I don't really feel like I'm in control though. I don't feel pressing buttons is corresponding to anything that's really happening on screen beyond spamming. You can't believe this is on the same hardware as Metal Black. No, nor can I. Maybe if you spend more time with this you get used to the controls, but it really... you know, I've got 3 buttons apparently. C doesn't seem to do anything. One of them does this attack, one of them does this attack. I can duck and I can jump, but I can only jump straight up. I can't jump diagonally. There are proper moves, but you have to learn them. They're not intuitive, though. Maybe if there was a cabinet display with the play instructions and the moves on. But the game is doing nothing to tell me what to do. At least not here. Maybe it did at the start, but that was just a big joystick circle. I guess you have to press buttons to stop being eaten. But again, it's not telling me anywhere to hit buttons to get the dinosaur off me. It's not communicating much to me. This was re-released in Japan on Taito Memories 2 in 2007. In recent years, it garnered negative reception. It aged badly. Did it age badly, or was it always just kind of rough? I think it's ambitious. I sort of like what they were going for, but honestly, I don't think it plays well. But Tommy loves it. So maybe it's one that is enjoyable if you spend more time. It's got a little bit of a story. Or that wasn't a story, that was a game over message. I thought it was a story. I thought we were back in the track mode and it was telling me a story. I'll have to come back to it another time, I think. It's definitely one I've not played much of. But again here though, it's really ugly, the font. They've used a font you can't really read against the sky, and then the black pixels don't blend well against the sky either. It's probably one you had to play at the time to enjoy, maybe? You murder it on mobile? Maybe I'm just terrible at it. It's got some interesting design choices, style. But I think maybe the sprites are too big for the hardware. They couldn't really get enough animation frames in here because the board it runs on doesn't have the highest ROM capacity. It does have different backgrounds then. Does it? I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think it's worth showing on stream, but yeah, unless you learn the controls, you're not going to have much fun with that one. Yeah, Growl's got a similar, very rough-looking style, but Growl is a more logical game, at least for me. I might come back to it another time. I mean, I don't think the emulation is any worse now than it used to be. It's just kind of an odd game. Let's move a few things around up here anyway. Let's move on to another game shortly, in fact. Oh, my massive list of games. Okay. This is an interesting one because of a bug fix in it, in the original game, not in MAME. This is Beezer by Tong Electronic. Now, there are two sets of this in MAME. And according to the information that I have, the original set had a bug where if there were 10 bees on the level and it tried to create, or when there were 9 bees on the level, it created a new egg. The egg would be removed instead of hatching. So the eggs are meant to hatch into more bees, but if there were already 9 bees on the level, the game can only support 10, and it was just removing eggs instead of hatching them. So this later revision, the program has fixed that, or fixed a bug where it was making the eggs disappear, but instead of that actually making the game better, the game now resets when that happens, or something like that. There's a bunch of information about it. This is clearly the newer set, though, because this has a fully functional service mode, and the older set does not. But it almost sounds like they were trying to fix something and just made it worse. So, can you see Growl is... I think Growl is a game I've probably spent too much time playing for it to be on the stream, Tommy. But yeah, there's something about a bug in this one. Game with bees. It's only easy. It's a trackball game. That's going to be fun. So eat eggs before they hatch and everything else. Yeah. You must trap the bees. Yep. But at the same time, well, don't hit the bees. But yeah, I don't know which set's best, because apparently this set does fix some bugs, but introduces, say, a worse bug, which means the game can actually crash on this set. Well, this is going well so far. Can't we just make honey instead? It's really awkward to actually spin the pieces around too. Maybe that's because it's meant to be a trackball, and if you push hard it spins. I don't know. Can you trap them in the corner? No. I don't even know what it is, Carlo. So, as you can see, I'm really, really good at this game. First build a trap with an open corner, then wait for the bee. Okay. This game's making you angry and you're not even playing it. Yeah, it's making me angry and I am playing it. Does this count? Come on, bee. Come on, bee. Come on. Well, I made a trap. Didn't tell me I could trap myself, did it? Uh-oh. I can see why nobody really found the bugs in this game back in the day. But the... You know, the bad game stream... Why can they go through there and I can't? That's not fair. They have shortcuts, I don't. There's an egg. Oh, I've trapped myself again. Okay. I can see why I don't play that one. It's not fun. At least not to me. One that was suggested earlier. Bal Cube. Now, I did play this one a fair bit when it was added to the Metro Driver back in the day. Beezer, beware. Yes, beware of that game. Again, that might work as a home game, but if you walk into an arcade and put your money in that, no, it doesn't work as an arcade game. Chip and Dale? I don't think there's an arcade Chip and Dale game, is there? So, visually this looks a lot like Kaneko's Magical Crystals with the different coloured squares, which is also a game I could potentially play, but I've personally played too much Magical Crystals, but I don't know. Beezer is Kusaj, or however you pronounce it. I mean, say maybe Beezer has its fans, I'm not one of them. But this one, you are controlling the square, you're bouncing up and down, and you're getting rid of the pieces. It's an odd one to describe. The pieces don't fall or drop when you get rid of ones next to it, you're just clearing the wall. It's sort of a breakout where you control the ball. And you obviously can't hit the same place at the bottom more than once in a row. And it tells you the pattern that's coming next on the right hand side, so keep an eye on that, you know what's coming up. Yeah, I played this quite a bit when it was added, but it's been many years since I tried playing it extensively. I do like my Breakout Arcadia style games, and this is a unique twist on the genre. This one is pretty good, Bob. I think there's just not that much to it. But it stands out as being different in a good way. Don't do that. Our lives can be condensed into 2 parts, before playing Beezer and after playing Beezer. Do you think they had Nicolas Cage play Beezer? Do you think that was what it was all about, really? The music here is reminding me a bit of Tecmo's Deroom Dero Dero, Tecmo Stackers. It almost feels like it's about to break out into some kind of vocal track without actually breaking out into vocals. I mean, it appears that my lives are stock cubes. I don't know why I'm doing so badly at this though. Now this is one that is actually joystick controlled. You might think it'd be an analog control game, but that would probably make it a bit too easy. In fact, visually it looks a bit like Tecmo Stackers too. I wonder if there was some connection between the developers at Metro here and the people who worked on Tecmo Stackers, Divin Dero Dero. I don't know. Maybe that's just me feeling there's a connection. There's a 1-up. 1-ups are good. More important to pay attention to the bottom of the screen than the top. Now I put Tecmo Stackers on next for compare, but Tecmo Stackers is one I've played quite a lot of, and that would go against my entire theming for the stream. You can tell I've not played this one in a while though, because I'm even worse than I am usually at games. There we go. This is what Pachinko would be if it wasn't boring. I thought the equivalent to Pachinko was just, you know, the actual Peggle game we got. So yeah, if you goes over the line, much like a Puzzle Bobble game, you lose a life. So you do have to clear out the blocks. In that sense, it's a bit like the Data East LOP games, Grap LOP, Cluster Buster, Ghost LOP, and the like. But the pieces don't drop off here. You have to knock each one individually. I'm not really sure the map is that useful, but maybe if you're an advanced player, there's a reason for it to be there. The next MAME Extras update will be published on Sunday the 19th of December. A lot of people do ask about the MAME Extras, don't they? Well, game over. I don't know what the sort of medieval theme is all about, because it doesn't really fit the music. You know, and some of the lettering, like the game over there, and the swords. This is a nice game, Aussie Guy. It is one that... So I don't want to spend too long on it because I have played it a bit more than some of the others that I might be looking at. But it is a nice game. It's a bit Tecmo Stackersy in presentation, a bit Taito-like. It's a good mix. Probably one of the better Metro games. Shall we stick with the Metro game? Yeah, let's stick with the Metro game. Maybe not such a good one. Sky Alert, a shooter that every time I fired it up, I quit it quite quickly. Let's see if I do the same this time. Hey Evie, you just got in and drowned from the rain. Yeah, we've got quite a bit of storm going on outside, haven't we? I think there's a travel warning in place at the moment, so hope you dry off quickly, don't get ill or anything like that, and hope all the bunnies are okay, because they're probably not used to big storms either. Anyway, let's coin up Sky Alert. I think I did play this one on stream before, and concluded it wasn't very good, but let's just remap the controls, because why not? Or did I play this on stream before? I can't remember. It's one of those that I think right down to the title, it just seems so generic I forget about it. It is actually quite smooth. Responsive. I don't have to tap fire it or auto fires. I have a bomb, okay. You think this looks like a Philco game? I don't know. The bullets kind of remind me of Video System, Psycho. Things take too many hits. But your shot types don't remind me of Video System or Psycho, but the enemy bullets and their patterns do. It's got quite an odd resolution, so nothing is quite round in terms of the bullets. That's quite off-putting. Now I keep colliding with them. Say I've probably never played past the first level on this game. It is, yeah, it is very Video System. A lot of these enemy types feel like they're kind of based on Video System enemies. How many shots do these take? Yeah, I don't like shooting ups that everything takes too many hits, and this is starting to feel like one of those. Are you off, Stephen? Take care. Oh yeah, Eldest someone's playing the PC. Alright. It's always good seeing you. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you hope maybe you've seen some games you haven't seen before, and if you haven't, maybe you will see some after the stream, I don't know, or maybe you just know about all the good games at this point, which is possible. Because, you know, there are only a limited number of games actually worth playing, even when you've got the entire arcade line to consider. Somewhat unimpressive looking boss, actually. I was expecting something a bit bigger. Quite a small bomb. It's barely a boss. You can shoot the different parts of the boss, that's not too bad. It's more than some games do. These are very common bullet patterns. I'm still not managed to dodge them. I also don't like the collision box on these pickups. It seems much smaller than the pickup. A 2-on-2 open ice. Yeah, that's a potential one I could look at. Not one I've played much of because I don't really play many sports games. I mean, there are definitely worse vertical shooters. I'm back on the aircraft and back on the water. It's just kind of generic, isn't it? This is the first level again. Did I continue and die? Did I fail the first level? This looks like the first level again. Did I actually just fail to kill the boss and have to play the level again? Or is this level so similar that it just feels like the same level? Metro was formed in '87. Their first game was Pang Poms. Yeah, I played Pang Poms. It's actually a good fun sort of mix of genres. I was almost considering it for the stream, but I think maybe it's one I've played too much. Not on the stream, but in person. Okay, maybe there's more enemies here than the first stage, but it does feel like I'm playing the first stage again. Yeah, Air Gallant's another one that seems I'd not played much of, but this one, maybe I'll have to come back to this one later with cheats. Because apparently I was on the second level there, but it didn't feel like anything changed. Yeah, I can kind of see why I've not played that much of that one. Okay, we've got a request in the chat, in fact, from Single Dad Gamer for 2-on-2 Open Ice. Which is a fair request, I would say, actually. I mean, it is a Midway game, and as he says, NBA Jam on Ice. But it's not one I've spent much time with, so turbo, shoot, pass. 4-player game by the looks of it. So, we are 2 hours into the stream. Archive footage supplied by Archive Holdings. I played Osman Cannon Dancer on other streams, but I think Osman Cannon Dancer is one that I helped a bit with the emulation of, so it's one I'm quite familiar with. And I've potentially played too often for it to be in a stream of lesser played games from my point of view. If I'm doing an underrated game stream, Osman Cannon Dancer definitely appears in it, because it is a really underrated and really good game. I think it's the best sequel Strider had that wasn't called Strider. But let's be Winnipeg.
Welcome to tonight's matchup, Winnipeg versus Detroit.
Okay.
Here's the face-off. Federoff to Majou. He took him out. Centered one. Federoff.
So, I mean, I've never really been good at ice hockey games, I have to say. My players over here, even the good, even the ones like NHL 94 on the Mega Drive, I've never quite got the hang of. So in this you only control one player, I think, and the computer controls the other one. And I've played a lot of Uncle Pooh as well, though, Bob. The karate tournament is broken in MAME at the moment, so I can't really play it. I'd have to dig out an old version of MAME. It's broken since I think KO made some changes to the driver. Press pass button to make goal. What?
Here's the draw. Kick save and a beauty. He freezes the puck.
What? Close shots have a better chance of scoring. I mean, if I could get close. Well, Can you tell I have absolutely no idea what's going on for the most part here?
1 minute left. Shooting from the slot. He took the save by Doubleday. He centered it. Shooting Doubleday. Gets his stick on it. He shoots, he scores.
Well, the computer scored for me. That helps.
1, 2 more. The puck is loose. He looks to center. Vernon.
So you can get the computer to pass it to you.
Centered one. Pokes at it. Majou with the high stick.
Well,
Get ready for the
I
second period.
did well, didn't I?
A change in the lineup.
I mean, oh, it wants another coin. Of course, it wants another coin for the second period.
Face off at center right.
I suppose with more players,
Johnny, and a save.
this might be more playable. I don't know if you tell the computer to shoot or not, or defend, or anything.
Pokes at it. Covered by
I can say if you've got a friend or 3 friends, I can see why you might want to play this with multiple players. As a single player experience, it's quite difficult to get the hang of.
From the top of the ring. He levels it.
But that might just be because I am bad at ice hockey in general.
He shoots.
The somebody's on fire. Fedorov did well.
What was he thinking?
I guess you're not meant to shoot from there. He's on fire. So just the computer not shoot unless you tell the computer to shoot.
Freezes the puck. 1 minute left. Oh, man. Vernon. He rattled it off the pipe. He's looking to center. He scored. A big goal by
I'm losing again. Oh, I was always losing.
He looks to center. Good shooting from the slot.
Oh look, I actually scored one. Maybe the comeback is on here. Probably isn't, but maybe it is. No, the comeback's not on. Do a pass and shoot for one time. That's okay. Pass and shoot.
Get ready for the third period.
I'll put another coin in and see how it goes.
Change in the lineup.
Yeah, I probably just need to get used to the controls, to be honest.
Hit the ice. Jamna.
Because I can tell the computer to pass it to me clearly.
Majou. The save by Vernon.
I don't know how to defend.
Deflects it.
I don't know.
Here's the draw. Channel deflects it. He's looking to center. To Jamna. He looks to center. Shooting from the slot.
There we go. So yeah, you kind of control the computer players too.
Shooting and a save. Over to Majou. He's hit hard. Shooting. He unloaded on it. Stick handler. Deflected.
Yeah, I'd say, as you can probably tell, I've never really spent any time playing this. I mean, ice hockey in general is... I've played it more than, say, some of the American football games, because I really wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing on those, but...
And he holds on. Up to Majou. He's looking
It
to
really is NBA Jam on Ice, though, isn't it, as mentioned.
Jamna. 1 minute left. Majou shooting the save. He's looking to center. He scores. He's heating up. Jamna shooting. He scores. The Winnipeg Jets trail 5-9.
I'd like to say the comeback's on again, but it really isn't.
He puts it in front. From the top of the ring.
Maybe it is.
He's spoken.
Probably not.
Here's the draw. The slam
Probably just one of those games that makes it easy when you're losing, so you think you've got a chance of catching up, isn't it? And then as soon as you... I like the advertising, Kellogg's Corn Pops. Can you still even buy Corn Pops? The Red Wings. I'm going to call them the Hot Wings because, you know, that sounds better. And I like Hot Wings. So there we go. 2-on-2 Open Eyes Challenge. Was too challenging for me. I was kind of starting to get the hang of it after a while, but yeah, I'm not very good at these games at all. So maybe we should move on. But yes, that was the one single dad gamer suggested. And yeah, it fits with the theme of the stream because it's really one I've not played much of. Okay. Another one I've not played much of is Top Blade 5 or V. A 2003 game by SonoKong and Expotato on Crystal System hardware. I think SonoKong licensed some of the plug and plays too. I think we've got a Excite Ping Pong Island too. But this is a Beyblade style game. And it's one of the Crystal System games I've probably fired it once or twice and gone, and then quit. Which may happen again. And bootleg Beyblade, yes. Look, I can select things in Korean. Round 1. Tap buttons up. Now, I don't know why there is a box around your player. I think that's probably just bad programming. Because I think the Crystal System blending is correct. Yes, you charge up your blade and then you try and ram the other person out the ring. But it's basically a very strange game to try and play. There we go, KO. Maybe the sound balance is wrong too. The music seems a lot louder than the sound effects. But again, I don't know. I've never played this on real hardware, and I doubt many people have. But again, it's one of those where you never really feel in control. You get the power to maximum, and then it just does a weird spin thing. Like, I don't know. For all I know, I could be playing a gambling game here. That's how much control I feel I have over the charging. Maybe if I hold this button? I don't know, that makes the white glow around my character when I press it, so... What on earth is going on? I don't think I won. You see enemy characters like these and your brain immediately tunes out. I don't think you need much brain for this one. I mean, there are plug and play Beyblade games that aren't dumped yet. I don't know if they play better or worse than this, or if this is somehow an arcade port of one of them. But it's I just don't really understand the strategy here. I can point my arrow at the other opposition, and I can charge it up, and then I can release it, and that's all it does. It's like, wow, what an attack. And so we end up the same as last time I played this game, where it's like, okay, what was I meant to be doing? How was I meant to not lose? I mean, the presentation's pretty good. game I'm not sure about. Tapping the button all the time doesn't help either. Anybody good at this game? Anybody ever played this game before? Anybody know the first thing about playing this game? I mean, they can jump over my attacks too, which... If I hold these... So that jumps in normal cases, so I can probably jump over attacks using it. What? Very laggy. I'm going to try him out and lose again, I'm sure. And I think we're starting to see why I've not played much this one. Because it looks good, and then it doesn't play at all. I mean... It was licensed. Ah, okay. It was licensed, it just doesn't carry the Beyblade name. So I think I might be winning this time. There we go, I actually won. But I didn't feel I did much different. But yeah, there's not very good visual indication of you doing damage. You really have to just look at the damage meter and see. And if anything, not using the directions seems to be a better strategy than trying to use the directions. Now I've won one round and I appear to be losing badly again. I'm on a roll. Well, on a spin, Bob. On a spin. There doesn't appear to be much rolling in this one. Although I lost the final round. I don't wish to continue. There might be a game in here, but... I am yet to find it. Yeah, South Korea is so notorious you'd expect it to be unlicensed, but I think by 2003 maybe they were trying to do things correctly in Korea. And SonoKong is a known name, as is Expotato, so it's not a completely unknown developer or company behind it, so yeah, it probably is licensed. I just don't know if it makes a good arcade game. Maybe we don't play any more of Top Blade 5. This one, Finest Hour by Namco. There might be some emulation issues with this one, I'm not sure. It kind of confuses me. Let's change the keys again. Because Namco, right from the start, you know, it's Japan only. I don't think there's a non-Japanese version of this. But it's like, they seem really proud of this. You've got a nice, fancy zooming logo. Slightly slow zooming logo. AMC. It's an AMC TV program. Oh no, it's a Namco game. There we go. There we go. And it says, one of their all-time best. Does anybody remember Finest Hour as a game? Now it looks like Marble Madness / Vector Ball / that X68K game we played. But the game's nothing like that. Now, immediately I noticed the background doesn't scroll when the character's dropping down there, the furthest background layer. That always annoys me in games. But yeah, let's coin it up and just play it. So what type of game is this? Why is this one of Namco's finest? It's left and right. Oh, shoot. It's quite loud. Okay. And you can jump with the thrust button. Still quite loud. And you can shoot some robots. Okay. You can fly above them and jump over them and shoot them. And screen dog. And I can dash by double tapping the button. And there's lots of graphical layers hiding where I am. I'm kind of always reminded of the Mega Drive game Doom Troopers, I think it's called, which has got slightly similar visuals but more pre-rendered. But yeah, what is the deal with this game? It doesn't seem like a game that any company would be saying, oh, this is our best output. This was re-released in Japan on Virtual Console in 2009, as the guy says. Yeah, it's one of those games that fired up and going, oh, there's some nice parallax effects there. Okay, it looks quite pretty in the parallax effects. Where's the gameplay? All I'm doing is walking along, shooting things, occasionally jumping over them, and then getting stuck in pits, I seem to remember. And it's got an auto-aim mechanic on everything, so you know, you don't feel in control. You can't shoot at what you want to shoot at because auto-aim just goes all over the place. But somebody at Namco, based on the presentation, must be really proud of this one. So I feel like it's a game that I should like. I feel like I'm being told to like this game, but I don't like it much. See, I've gone past this thing and I can just destroy it. Just a nice rotation effect. I can blow these things up and very clunky. The controls are really laggy too. There's momentum in everything. It takes a while to turn around. It's very sticky. And that's by design. That's not just bad emulation. It's because there's so many frames of animation and everything. It means it feels unresponsive. Again, it's one of those, like several of the ones we played today, where you just never really feel fully in control. And I think that's what puts me off a game. If I don't feel like I'm in control... I'm trying to turn around here to shoot, but so... But I think it was Carlo said I should do a Labour of Love stream. And the presentation of this suggests that this was a labour of love for somebody at Namco. But then it got left in Japan, and I can see why. Roaring Strider with a gun. Yeah, Strider's good because you can hang on things. Fight continuously. Again, fancy presentation. Look here. Finest hour, blending effect. Flashy, let's do all sorts of effects. Oh, and then we're just back here. And that was like... That felt like it was opening credits or something, where you were suddenly transported to a different world and something more impressive. But then it's just like, yeah, let's just dump you back where you were. But yes, there's nice explosions. But everything takes loads of hits too, so it's not satisfying. Look, what, 3, 4, 5 hits from a slow gun. Homing shots that home in on you, so it does feel like a tech demo, not a game. You're still here. The machine is overheated. The radar system is broken. Continuing the mission is impossible. Apart from, you know, I can continue the mission. Rush. It almost feels like a prototype. It feels like one of those games that was developed and then went, maybe we should have made a game. I mean, maybe there's some skill to it. Assault is a far better demonstration of what the System 2 board can do than this. See, I just want to be able to charge into the enemies there and destroy them by running at them or something like that. That would be more satisfying. Instead, you know, I bump into them, they stop me. And again, the furthest background layer isn't doing anything. So when you're in the air, you have no perception of how far you're travelling. You know, I could be going nowhere. I could be travelling a mile. You don't know. A lot of platform games, when we got to the, I think the 32-bit era, struggled with that, and things like Tempo on the 32X. And now we've overheated again. You know, you need a background to scroll in a platform game where you're jumping around, so you can get some idea that you're still moving in a direction. Once you're up in the air there, how do I know if I'm even moving? Well, I can't jump that high anymore anyway for some reason. I'm probably out of fuel, or just the game's being the game. Maybe I just can't jump high anymore. Oh look, there's a wall. And again, I'm probably just going to overheat it, because how on earth am I meant to avoid these things? Maybe I just don't get it. This is the same thing that happens every time I play this game. I go, well, there's some nice visuals-ish. There's some bad design choices. There's a game that isn't fun. It's slow, annoying controls. Yeah, I'm in charge of a big robot thing. It doesn't seem that big. Yeah. The same feeling I get every time I fire that one up. It's just not a great game. My wife and friends are waiting for me, but for now I'd like to pause. That's 1989 too, so it wasn't even the earliest System 2 game. It's not like, you know, this is our new hardware, we've got to demonstrate, we've got to show it off. Because there's a certain game that was the first System 2 game, and I believe it's got Lap and Final in the title. But I don't want to say that the full title of the game, because somebody might wake up. Anyway, should we move on? I think we should move on. Let's play a bit of Devilfish. Indeed, Aussie guy, that was the first game for the hardware, the one I'm not mentioning. So, I don't think I played this already, did I? This is a Galaxian-ish hardware game, scramble hardware. And it's a maze game, a bit like Pac-Man, but with fish. It is like saying Beetlejuice X3, which is probably a car. I know what you mean, Bob. So yeah, you catch fish in the gates and then you collect them. Also, it's super quiet. I don't know why. This one is odd. The volume is set to the same level as every other game in Scramble, but the actual sound is super low. So I can barely hear it. And yet my VU meter is maxed out. So I don't have a clue. So now it says it's super loud, like 10 times louder than I am, but I can still barely hear it. Meh. So yeah, yep, that's not how you play it. I've got a fish, now I've got to take the fish home. But you can feed the creatures and then they get stuck in different holes, but even the small ones kill you. Basically there's different sized creatures, you feed them fish, the bigger they are the more likely they are to get stuck in traps, but also you can't pass through all the traps. And you can collect fish to use as bait. So like, if that one eats that one, it's going to get stuck in this one if it goes through it. Let's feed the little one. So it's obviously the best fishing game ever made. You got stuck in there, so I've got that fish. or whatever it is, the monster. And now I can take you back home. Oh, oh, oh. Visually, that angel sprite reminds me of Mr. Cougar. This is all ugly and still kind of cute. It is. And it's also unique in terms of the gameplay. So, you know, you can have a fish. Unfortunately, you know, the characters... Why am I trying to collect the little one? That's a silly thing to do. I'm pretty sure this is how it's meant to look, though. It's not like Dream Shopper that we looked at the other day, which apparently is not well emulated. Although, considering Dream Shopper video hardware just seems to be Pac-Man, I don't quite know how the missing effects are meant to work. Got to get to the house. I mean, it's not the ugliest game of the sort. Got you. Most games are very quiet. It might be due to the... that wasn't a trap, that was just a fish. It might be due to some of the analog sounds, I don't know. But this one is exceptionally quiet. It must just be setting the AY to a low level in this case. I always think you can catch them when they just got the fish, but you can't. You do have to remember how to play the game, otherwise you will get caught out. Even in eating a fish form, you can't go through them. Not an easy game. Your supply of fish is at the bottom, by the way. You don't have infinite fish to feed these things, but you can lay lots of fish around, you see. It's actually quite impressive because they're tiles. But, you know, if I just want to open a fishmonger, then you go through here. You can only go through here when it's open, maybe. I don't know. That was a bad idea. I got stuck. I'm feeding the creatures and then getting caught in these traps, which are the things on the side of the maze. The big ones will get... The biggest ones get caught on the single ones. The medium-sized ones get caught on these ones. The smallest ones don't get caught on anything. These ones also catch you because you're medium size. I'm apparently making a fish by taking the fish home. So I guess it's sort of a super processed fish, ultra processed fish meat, or something like that. I don't know. Probably a McDonald's fish fillet. But, you know, I need to get another 2 to complete the fish, the big fish. Which, yeah, doesn't make much sense. Yeah, they only get caught because there's 3 different sizes, and say they'll get caught in different places depending on their size. So fattening them up by feeding them fish is a good idea. But there we go. That's the first level complete. I made a fish. Congratulations. Don't know why it's called devilfish, but it's called devilfish, and we get different maize. Now, I'm actually going to say I think this is quite a good game. Not one I've spent much time with, but clearly a much more original concept than most simple maze games. And I've not seen this exist outside of this 8-bit form. No, it can't be. Pardon me. Oh, see, the small one gets caught there because that's double-sided. Yeah, I think the war towers are correct. I think they're just meant to be seaweed. It's meant to be set underwater. If anything, maybe the background should be blue, but then it'd be twice as ugly. Yeah, I would like to know if our Dream Shopper dump is a bootleg or not. Or if we're just missing some odd feature that that board has that Pac-Man hardware doesn't have. Because there's a similar bug entry for Van Van Car about the background colour being wrong, but the background colour that's meant to be there isn't even in the colour prom. Well, that was a bit cruel. It didn't really tell me that it was about to leave the trap, so I got caught out. I guess you just have to time it. But yeah, if you're looking for a game with maze gameplay but a unique twist, this certainly is it. Unfortunately, you can't just give them extra ones until they explode, which would be a far easier strategy. Oh. I don't think there's a time limit for getting back to the house. Like, it's not Tumble Pop like, where if you keep them eating for too long, you die. You keep them on your person even, not eaten. If two get caught, one of them just disappear. That was a mistake. Arctic colours. Yeah, I mean, Arctic have got some interesting games. There's another one I was considering for the stream. I think it's Mars is another Arctic game, isn't it? None of them got caught in that trap. There we go. Completed the fish. Anyway, once I die here, I will move on. We are just over 2.5 hours into the stream, so you have about half an hour remaining. Then I'll be hopping over to Zypho's Amstream, where he is apparently playing 2 brand new Amstrad CPC games today. And I do like to see those, but I'm probably going to miss the start of that because he starts at 9, so an hour ago. So he's probably already played them, to be fair. You're trapped. In some ways I'm reminded of Taito's Roundup, aka Fitter, with the grid in the centre there. There we go, game over. So yeah, mix of different ideas, that one. And definitely one I think I'll play more of. I played it when researching the stream and thought this is actually pretty good fun. I don't know why it's so quiet, but it's really quiet. But Devilfish from Arctic is ugly, but it is good fun. And one I would actually recommend giving a try. Van Van Car was released by Japan by Kiwako for Sanritsu. And for some reason all these sets, there's like 2 Karateko sets. And Karateko are usually bootleggers, but who knows. Right. I've talked a lot about the Mega Play port of Sonic 1 being terrible. Because it cuts out Marble Zone, Labyrinth Zone, puts strict time limits on the zones and everything else. Mega Play also got Sonic 2. And Sonic 2 has far less modifications. Possibly to the point where it just seems uninteresting. But I'm going to give it a try and see if I spot anything different. Unlike Sonic 1, I did notice this doesn't have a high score table in the Mega Play version. It may just be more of a straight port of the game. I think we can turn the volume up a little bit here. Obviously, insert coins. There we go. Let's start. Thank you for the release information, Aussie Guy. Maybe I need to look at other games by that company. I don't know. I'd like to sort it out, but at the same time I don't have 100% confidence that we're not just dealing with bootleg sets in MAME, because sometimes that happens. For example, these non-Karateko sets from Van Car appear to write a colour table to RAM, whereas the Karateko set doesn't, and Dream Shopper doesn't. I did wonder if that was something to do with the missing elements. Now there's no visible time on this version, I see. I'm assuming there is still a time, right? But interestingly, they've taken away the timer display. So yeah, I'm not on like a strict 30-second timer on the level at least, which is good because that was really annoying on the Mega Play Sonic 1. Hey Peter, thank you, and a happy Friday evening to you too. I hope you're doing well. I did get Claw Grip to have one of his friends double check the Thunderhoop Jaleco program run, and it does match the existing dump, so it's not a dump problem that frees on the fourth, or the crash on the fourth wet level, which is annoying. I was hoping, kind of hoping it would be, but I thought I'd keep you up to date with that one because I think you knew I was looking into that crash. I really don't know what they've done. I'll keep researching it and see if we can get the original Thunderhoop to actually work properly, because I've actually demoted it now in MAME, because crashes on level 4 is a critical bug. Thunderhoop 2 of course works correctly, it's just the original which is being a pain. My Sonic skills are no longer skills. I can no longer go fast. Possibly not. They stripped the special stages out of the Sonic 1. I've not noticed anything around the checkpoints, although did I have enough rings? I don't know. I've not been paying that much attention. I've been kind of reading the chat and semi-autopiloting the game. Yes, the Mega Play Sonic 1 takes all the special stages, all the chaos angles and everything out, so it's possible this does too. I don't know. Karateka was an arcade label of Strambuli Freves SA. Mostly sold bootlegs, but some were licensed. They have a bootleg game wiki entry. I'll have to check that out, because yeah, I mostly associate them with bootlegs. See, we do have Chemical Zone at least. It's not stripped out all the slower zones either. Because Chemical Zone is definitely a slower zone in Sonic 2. Got a really good soundtrack. But it's clearly not made as difficult as the Mega Play one. I'm assuming there's no extra live at 100 ring either, although I've not managed to get 100 rings. Probably. I'm doing so bad at this. No, Mega Play games aren't timed. They use a credit system. They're actually reprogrammed versions of the games specifically to work with a credit system. They're proper arcade games, really, even though they're on Mega Drive hardware. You think I had enough ring? Yeah, they've probably taken them out then, Bob. Or they've just increased the ring requirement. It's interesting they have taken the time out completely of this one, though. So I don't know if there are any differences to the stage designs, but it looks like a much closer port than the can't get up than the Sonic 1 port. Oops. Something as easy as Sonic unless I'm playing it. I used to be able to complete Sonic without losing any lives. That was back in the day when I played a lot of Sonic. Indeed, you are talking about a Zavix. I think I've featured that Zavix game on stream before, Peter. Although this is an arcade stream rather than a plug and play stream. Garurin World, I think it was called, wasn't it? Which I was surprised to find out was nothing to do with the Neo Geo game. Oh look, no extra life at 100 rings. Oh. Typical Sonic glitching though. Yeah, nothing happens on the signpost, so no special stages. The arcade is not special enough to have special stages. The only Sonic game 111 remembers in the arcade is the Token Roll. The Token Roller? Not the trackball game then. I know there are some Sonic themed gambling games. There's the JPM Fruit Machine and some probably unlicensed ones too. I don't know which one you're referring to specifically. Definitely inspired by the 8-bit versions of Sonic, yes, you're right. Sadly not the most playable game without the original control because it just becomes a bit too easy. Oh dear. Yeah, they could have done Sonic Spinball Pinball Machine. Anyway, shall we not play any more Sonic because I'm embarrassing myself with that one. It's much closer to the original than the Sonic 1 was. It doesn't seem to have the strip zones. It doesn't have the special stages. But you're talking about the Redemption game. I can't put my finger on which one, but there's a lot of Sonic stuff. I know we say we've emulated that popcorn machine and the kiddie rides, and in fact the JPM Fruit Machine runs now without proper artwork. I don't know if that counts as lesser played, but no, it's probably just quite a lazy cutting of features from Sonic 2, Bob. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not as extreme as the Sonic 1. The Sonic 1 did actually have a high score table, which that doesn't. But I don't know. I can see why I kind of passed on it. It just doesn't stand out as interesting. Here we have another Data East game I tend not to look at, though. We have Garyo Retsuden. Which appears to be one of those Chinese dynasty type games. The background I'm using is a Ninjakun, Ninja Kid PCB, Peter, with obviously a variety of filters applied to it because that's what I tend to do. All my backgrounds just tend to be, I found this picture of a PCB somewhere or this graphic somewhere. I applied lots of different filters to it and made it look a bit strange and went with it. I think I like to do the different graphics because it makes each stream look a bit different. Also, I did sort of a watermark effect on it just for fun. Because, you know, kind of taking the pee out of all the watermarked images you can find. So here is a kind of Commando-like game from Data East, I'm guessing, that I've really never spent much time with. I think it only got a Japanese release. That looks like Karnov. Is that Karnov? I'm being attacked by multiple Karnovs. Has Karnoff become a popcorn enemy? I didn't pick the beardy fellow, no. Maybe I'll have to pick him and have another credit. Well, that's a simple power-up that just says 1,000 points and gives me 1,000 points. So yeah, I've never played this one before, despite, you know, saying I really like Data East games. For some reason I realised that this one I've overlooked every single time. Dragon. And death. Multiple Karnovs, 70s fuck rock band. I don't know. Probably be enough fire with that many Karnovs to make Ramstein jealous. Are these shots home in? Kind of. I don't like Cloudy Guy. Cloudy Guy's annoying. Oh. Your name is AA. Let's go with Beardy Guy then. I'm going to go back to the start of the level. So yeah, it's clearly not got much in the way of English translation in this. Yep, definitely Beardy Guy. The shots here seem less powerful. The Karnovs don't die as easily. Yeah, I do have a secondary attack that's the same between characters. Oh, okay, they do die as easily. I just wasn't as powered up. For some reason, the lower powered shot looks more powerful than the powerful shot. Right, multiple Karnovs and a dragon. I'm guessing the dragon is what I need to focus my efforts on, though, even though there's all these other enemies really in my way. I died. Maybe I can just take these out. Oh, okay, the dragon's gone. I thought the dragon was a boss, but clearly I can just bypass the dragon by continuing to walk. This isn't too bad actually. It's nice and smooth. Music's a bit repetitive. But now we've got a boss. The dragon looked more boss-like than you do, but singular boss. I assume I killed him. Feels like Lost Mist. Feels faster and smoother than Lost Mist. Looks super 86, but it's 87. So you're saying it was a year late to market. I still think this is passable for 87. It's before CPS 1 hit. CPS 1's 88, isn't it? This music a bit better. Let's go through this forest. Not a forbidden forest, just a forest. Oh, okay. Don't think it's a cow, but I can ride it. Kill the tigers. Your power seems to just go down after a while, I don't know. I seem to lose the power on a time unless I got hit. It's now Gunsmoke. It has turned into Gunsmoke, you're right, Bob. I have the horse Dink. Look, the horse is red there though, I think the horse is dying. Well, I've got the carrot. The carrots are good for horses. Okay. Yeah, I've never played this before. But, it's quite good, isn't it, actually? Very commando-like, a bit Gunsmokey as mentioned, with its own theme. I think Data East did good here. The two-headed tigers, the worst kinds that I walked through. Oh dear. Well, I was trampled by a tiger after death. And that guy clearly likes the tree. He's probably lost something in the tree, or he's just trying to use his weapon like an axe to chop the trees down. I wish him luck, he'll be there all day. Well, until I have to turn the game off. So. Let's go with something I'm not entirely convinced runs at the correct speed. Let's go with a bit of Crazy War, a game by Eolith. The intro seems like it's the right speed. It's that type of graphic style that probably makes Bob lose all attention. It's a Korean game. In fact, it does kind of look a bit like the Top Blade one, doesn't it? It doesn't play like it, though. Sadly, the attract mode appears to be silent. Also, I think the sound is probably quite quiet anyway. No, maybe not. Sound emulation isn't great because it's a QDSP QS1000 thing. Shall I be lying? I don't know. But yeah, you have to take out the security cameras, I think. It feels a bit fast, but maybe it's correct. It's not like ridiculous in the way Raccoon World was, so it's possible it's correct. Now you do have a radar telling you where the cameras are. So there's one here. Oh dear, I died. I don't know why I'm trying to take out the turret there, because I've already gone past that camera and killed that camera. But maybe I just want the gunpowder. As far as I know, there's one down the bottom here. You lose your energy so quickly. That camera's down. But yeah, let's get away from that thing. The camera here. Health. I'm being destroyed by a turret, that's not good. Who's gone? The turret, bad turret. Eolith did work on some KF games, yes, Mr. Out of Heaven. I kind of found that surprising because I thought there were better Korean developers, and obviously Eolith didn't typically use 68K hardware. Most of Eolith's own games were on this Hyperstone based hardware, frame buffer based, so to see them make the switch to Neo Geo was actually quite surprising. I'm not quite sure why they were the ones who ended up doing the SNK stuff, but they were. Obviously there are mixed opinions on the quality of those games that they did. But yeah, that's kind of what Eolith are maybe more known for, is KF 2001 and the like, rather than all these games they did before then. And they did a lot of them, not necessarily all good. This one was kind of interesting. So it might be a bit too fast, I don't really know. I've never played on hardware, and the sound emulation is dreadful. But it's a nice little concept of digging around and shooting cameras and blowing enemies up and dying because they seem more powerful than you. The music is just not well emulated in Start to Heaven, unfortunately. The sound chip is actually quite capable. It's sort of a MIDI playback type chip. And mostly, I think the audio is all stored as like MIDI files, but main playback of it is dreadful. See also the likes of Wyvern Wings that are meant to have a very rock-inspired, let's just say, soundtrack, and doesn't sound anything like correct in MAME. There we go, mission complete. I've destroyed the cameras. Someone murdering a keyboard. I can't blame the composers though, because it is an emulation issue. I wish somebody would have a look at it, but not something I do myself really. Sound emulation is something I struggle with personally. And maybe that's the same for a lot of people, hence why it's still not been properly looked at. And even the sound effects have been drowned out by the music, which is too loud. There's all sorts of sound balance issues. I think any kind of reverb is missing. Basically, it shouldn't sound anything like this. It should actually sound pretty good. SNK worked with Eolith due to financial troubles. I do wonder why SNK went with Eolith though. They just seem like an odd company to go for. You know, a lot of Eolith's content was not that you'd expect to be related, you know, give fighting games to. They mainly did puzzly type games and you know, matching games and that kind of thing, not fighting games. You would have thought maybe they would go to SonoKong, who had done 68k based games and even some of their own fighting games. Eolith, odd choice. I'm sure they had their reasons. It didn't actually turn out that bad for them in terms of use of the IP. I think Eolith did a reasonable job, to be honest, though a lot of people don't like 2001. I don't think it's as bad as it could have been. Got to go all the way down to get up there. Sound is one of the hardest things to get right. Yeah, it is. I mean, I can understand graphic bugs and fix many graphic bugs and know exactly what's wrong. You give me a sound core and I'm like, well, it sounds wrong. That's all I can tell you. I can't give you any proper understanding of why it sounds wrong or how to fix it. And the times I have tried to emulate sound systems have generally not worked out well. Unless they're really simple ones, where the game is doing all the work, not the sound device. So I don't know really what to think of this as a game. It just seems a bit mindless. I think SonoKong made better games than Eolith, to be honest. But it's one I've not spent much time with, and I've probably never completed this second level before. I completed the first level before, but then I thought, well, I've seen enough of this. Yeah, I've got to go around. Because I think this is all there is to it. You go around, you hunt down whatever your target is, and you destroy it, and you get destroyed in the process most of the time. SNK could have hired Tosei, but Eolith was the cheapest. Yeah, maybe Eolith just said, we'll do it for nothing. And SNK was struggling. So yeah, looking at this, there are a lot of levels. This game must be a long game. And maybe the new gameplay elements in each stage, I don't know. But I think we've seen enough of it. And we are over the 3-hour mark now, so not actually the selection of games I was expecting to play tonight. I've got a whole list of games here, mostly oldies like Devilfish that I thought we'd be playing. But we've done, yeah, a selection that surprised me, in fact, which probably means there's enough games I wanted to play for another one of these streams at some point, but I don't know when that will be. Will it be this month? Who knows? But anyway, let's bring up this view again, and yeah. just feel like a home game. Quite a few of those Eolith games did. I don't know if they just contracted people to do them or they let people develop for their platforms. Fortress 2 Blue's the same. I think that maybe... Was that also on PC? I don't know. But yeah, the Eolith games... They don't appeal to me or hook me in the same way that, say, Semicom games do, or even Unicode games or Suna games. Eolith ones, sometimes they look quite nice, but there's something lacking in the gameplay for me. Anyway, so we're over 3 hours now, and I think I will be ending it here. So thank you to everybody who's been in the chat, and yeah, Aussie Guy again. I keep missing your facts, Aussie Guy. Eolith published Magical Sports Hard Hitter 2 Grand Slam 2003 Tennis in South Korea for Magical. What system was that on? Was that an arcade too? Alright, thank you, Nahul. I mean, it's faded a bit at the moment. I was considering re-dyeing it actually before the stream. I've got some blue dye. I could just go back to sort of the purpley pink or red. But at the moment it's kind of going whitish. But I thank you anyway. But I always appreciate kind comments, both about the stream and about the work I'm doing, and even my hair. So anyway, don't ever shave the beard. I have shaved the beard before. I look about 14, Bob, unfortunately. You probably wouldn't recognise me. It's for the PS2. So Eolith got onto the PS2 too. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm babbling on now. But yes, thank you to everybody, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm going to hop over to Zypho's stream. So if you go to Zypho's stream on YouTube, you can watch some Amstrad CPC games. I think he's doing budget games, best of budget after the new games. But that's where I'll be after this. So take care, everybody, and I will see you on the next one, I hope.